Have you ever found yourself sitting down to do some work, and no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to focus? You keep looking out the window, checking your phone, and 10 minutes feels like an hour. Fortunately, there is a solution to help you fight procrastination and achieve a state of deep flow in work you may not even enjoy doing. Unfortunately, most people won't do it. So what is this miracle cure? Boredom, a heavily neglected and stigmatized part of modern society, acting as both the problem and the solution. Hear me out. Social psychologist Timothy Wilson conducts the study placing volunteers in a room with nothing but a button. If pressed, they would receive an electric shock. After 15 minutes of sitting in an unfurnished, completely empty room alone, 67% of males and 25% of females chose to willingly electrocute themselves over doing nothing, with some participants deciding to press the button multiple times. It is also worth pointing out that the volunteers had previously stated that they would be willing to pay money to avoid the pain of such an electric shock. If we read in between the lines of this study, it perfectly illustrates how boredom can be utilized as a tool, incentivizing you to be more productive. Imagine you locked yourself in a room with nothing but the work you need to complete, getting rid of all distractions like your phone, making it either do work or do nothing. You will find yourself choosing to do the work most of the time, as sitting doing nothing is uncomfortable, even borderline painful. You will also find the work far more stimulating and entertaining than it would have otherwise been if you had other options of where you could direct your attention, allowing you to remain more focused. The simple act of checking your emails for 30 seconds in the middle of a work block puts your mind in a more distracted state for up to 30 minutes after the initial check, according to Cal Newport, author of the best-selling book Deep Work, who calls this switching between two different tasks, attention residue, being likely to demonstrate poor performance on that next task. The ability to perform deep work is becoming increasingly valuable in our economy. As a consequence, the few who cultivate this skill and then make it the core of their working life will thrive. On the flip side, boredom is equally important in breaking you out of feeling complacent and comfortably numb. Overstimulation being the reason for the vast majority of the population remaining in a suboptimal lifestyle, soothed by video games and social media. Living a life directed by impulsivity rather than intentionality. As Naval said on the Joe Rogan podcast,
all of man's problems arise because he cannot sit by himself in a room for 30 minutes alone. And it's very true. I always needed to be stimulated. And when the iPhone came along, boredom was dead.
Do you think Christopher Columbus would have embarked on his voyage and discovered America if he lived in a world where he could get jacked up on Prozac and play Minecraft? It's lack of stimulation which allows us to stop tearing up our brains and think clearly, naturally allowing novel ideas to flow. The need for constant stimulation is what keeps you trapped in a comfortably numb state where development feels unnecessary because life is just good enough.
It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely.
Here are the key principles for getting into a state of deep work or flow. Allocating certain hours of the day dedicated to only deep work with a go-to space that has minimal distractions where you can carry out this work, as to also create an association so your brain knows that when you are there, that it's time for work. Write down what you want to get done each session so you don't waste time trying to figure it out when you're meant to be working, thus avoiding future distractions. Before you sit down to do the work, make sure you have everything you need, such as water near you, to minimize unnecessary breaks and being broken out of the state of flow. Next, try and perform a grand gesture, such as investing time or money into improving your deep work routine, such as moving out of your house for a week with the intention of only working when you're away, or just by investing in a good pair of noise-cancelling headphones will raise the perceived importance of the task, allowing you to work more efficiently and better integrate it into your routine, making it a long-lasting habit. Finally, one of the most overlooked aspects of getting into deep work is downtime. In your breaks between blocks, go for a walk, take a nap, or meditate. A good rule is to only do things that are low stimulation during this downtime. Otherwise, as previously mentioned, will create attention residue, creating a more clouded brain as your mind can't change between stimulating tasks well, carrying the thoughts of one over to the other. A bonus tip to improve focus is to listen to binaural beats at 40 Hz, which has been shown in multiple studies to improve concentration, in part by increasing the levels of neurochemical dopamine and acetylcholine in the brain. You can do this throughout the whole of your work session, or you can just listen to 5 minutes of the binaural beats prior to the session as a form of warm-up, the same way you would warm up for exercise.